Hey YouTube, welcome to part 2 of how to do the zigzag braids. Just adding this back into the video in case you missed part 1, but I love Supreme Beauty Supply. This is in Texas, Arlington, Texas, and I am just going here to pick up some crochet curly hair. I use it for the ends of my hair because my hair is not that long, but I want my bun to be very thick and long, and so I feed this in to my hair. I'm grabbing two different types, one that is a bit more coily and one's a bit more wavy. So I'll add photos of those so you can see which ones that I use. And honestly, I think one pack is enough. Two, I think is a little bit too thick and too heavy on the neck, but feel free to add as little or as much hair as you would like. So this is the first one that I use, Bohemian Braid 20, and then I also use the GOGO Curl in 26-inch. You will also need, I bought this from Supreme Beauty. Smells so good. This is my favorite thing to use for braids. Also need spread edges, a comb, some type of brush, and look, y'all, I know how to be. You will also need some curly hair. So this is from part 1, so please feel free to check that out. But every time I start a braid, I start by parting again, like cleaning up my part because they're not the best. I brush out my hair and I use some of that BTL gel I put it on the one side, on both sides of the braid. So you want to put it, of course, on your edges and then on the back of the braid. And I also, if you noticed, put it on the braid that is not parted because I need that hair to be slick and out of the way. So make sure to put it on the primary braid you're braiding as well as the neighboring braid that you're going to do next. And it doesn't have to be an extreme amount, but enough to like get those wispies out of the way. So again, you put it on both sides of your hair and I brush it down really nicely, really tightly. You can also part better once you gel down your hair because the hair, it's a little cleaner to see, a little easier. And I start with like a triangle parting, like as you saw. It's hard to explain how to braid. To be honest, I didn't know how to scalp braid very well before doing this style, and I think this pattern allows you to braid in more manageable sections. So if you do a crown braid, then basically you can braid on your scalp like this. So, but I start each braid with like a bit of a triangle in the beginning to help me grasp the hair. See, I'm parting just two little pieces, and I use that for the entire flow into the main braid. Because it can be really hard to grip the hair, especially if you're a beginner learning out how to braid like me. So start with a tiny piece and that'll allow you to ease into it better. I do braid my hair all the way down. I put a bit of shea butter on my ends and then I kind of coat that with the gel to seal it in so it's not so fuzzy on the ends. So some of them you might have to take down both sides of the braids to get that part really clean. If your part is already really nice and clean, that's great. But mine were still needing a bit of a touch up. You've really got to brush those wispies and edges down to make it look as clean as possible. And be sure to continuously brush your hair as you braid down if it does get tangled, so that you're not ripping through your hair. And technically you can add on the extension hair as you do one braid at a time, but I like to just get the braiding out the way first and then add the extension hair, because it's just easier that way, to be honest. I feel like I'm accomplishing more if I do it all the braids first and then all the add-on. And it just makes for an easier stopping point if my arms got tired and I didn't feel like adding the add-on. At least I can like put my real hair in a tiny bun and then, you know, go over on errands or what have you, then come back home and add on the extension braiding. So you can do whichever way you prefer. And I guess my only advice with braiding is to just grip as hard as you can and try not to stop mid-braid. Sometimes my arms got so tired and I was like, whew, I need a break, need to stretch my arms out a little bit. But for the flow of the braid, it's easier to just keep going. I do have a birthmark in my head. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's like smack in the middle and it's like a black little lump thing. So if you see that, it's normal. It doesn't hurt. But I was trying to kind of hide it because ironically it's like right in the middle of my head. So sometimes my part is right there and I don't want people be like, what's in your head? People have asked me when I had a middle part. So it's best to just try to hide that for myself. And you can probably see it. It looks like I have like a little like hair missing, but that is of the black thing that's in my head. So I'm trying to navigate my part here and see how can I kind of cover that up. So again, start off with those 2 little pieces. You can do 3 as well and start braiding down. The back braids still need some work. Like, those were hard. And my neck was like being twisted and bent all type of ways, trying to see it in the mirror to get it as looking as similar to a braid as I could. It's low-key kind of a twist back here. But my parts are pretty straight, so I'm very proud about that. Okay, so then I'm just like moving the braid over a little bit, squeezing it and kind of rebraiding it because it was like slanting left. So I took down a little bit so I could slant more right and cover up the little thing on my head. So here is the hair, and I'm starting by getting like, well, I already separated it. I forgot I cut that out, but I pre-separated it into 8 different groups of hair, equal amount, so that I can make sure that all my braids are the same thickness, even though my natural hair is not the same thickness and some are much thicker than like the ones in the back or much thicker than the ones in the front. I still use the same amount of hair so that the bun is a nice size. And I put a rubber band at the end of the twist so that it does not unravel. And when I start the knotless feed-in part, I take down the braid maybe like the last about 2 to 3 inches of the braid. Maybe 2 inches is like a good, 2 to 3 inches is a good amount. You don't have to take down the whole entire braid, or you don't necessarily have to feed it in on your scalp as well. I don't know how to do that. But if you wanted hypothetically, your braids on your head a little thicker, you can, of course, as your own skill set, feed in your hair starting there. And I personally don't really mind if it gets very thin around where the hair meets, like it's not a seamless flow down, because again, I want it to feel good and not too heavy in a bun. If you wanted this to be its own separate style and hypothetically have it, you wear the braids down only, if that makes sense, like this is the style, essentially you're not putting it in a bun, then feel free to use much more hair or regular straight braiding hair instead of the curly, so that it can be extremely thick and you can have nice long waist length braids. I thought about doing that style. I might try it in the summertime, but I'm not sure if I would really like it. I might have to change the braid pattern to being straight back, or maybe add a bit more before I would consider wearing it straight down without putting it in a bun. And if you feel like your braid is a little too thick, your natural hair, add more of gel just to kind of, make your braid a little more tight. Now these are a bit, just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit thinner than I would like. I should have added like one more strand of hair, so the bun could be a little bit thicker, but I didn't. I didn't feel like going back, so. There has been times where I had to take out hair in each braid because I put too much, and there's been times where I had to add, so it's just kind of, you play around with it. I do like to do my edges, so I pull out some hair, and I use that same pink jar of gel that I've been using all day to do my edges. It's my absolute favorite, and I think it's great for scalp, edges, buns, as long as you don't do too much, because it can cake up and get kind of like white, so try to be careful. Sometimes at night, like I put this on during the day, and at night before I go to sleep, I put water on my edges so that it doesn't cake up. So I would recommend doing that, especially if you plan to wear the style. I think I wear it for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And I love to have little wispies sticking out of my bun. This is my first time trying little crochet pieces by my ear. I love a good piece of hair out, little symbol, little accent. So I'm just crocheting it into my ear pieces. It was pretty annoying to get it to lay flat. Like it kind of kept sliding and unraveling. So I gotta try to figure out how to make it more seamlessly looking real, you know what I mean? Like I tied it in a knot after I crocheted it, and you could like see the knot. Very much not my hair, but I wanted to not, it needs to look like it's my hair, you know what I mean? But it worked, and I didn't change it. So that is the style. I love it so, so much. It's so sleek, so simple, so easy to wrap up and go to sleep with. You could put mousse on it if you'd like. And here are some photos of me with the style. This is my 3rd time doing it. So my first time doing it, I had more brown on the ends, so I did brown add-in hair, and now my hair is just black, so it's only black at the ends. But I love this style. It's so, 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 so cute. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.